One thing I can guarantee is this here will never go viral because the fear of God that leads to wisdom, that leads to knowledge, that leads to understanding, insight, discretion, discernment, discipline, strength, none of that goes viral. But it's the thing that we all need. It's the thing that will sustain us for our whole entire life. It'll help us in business. It'll help us in relationships. It'll help us in all those areas. But the crazy thing is, this won't go viral. I was sitting at the beach this morning. I looked out and I saw this guy and he's paddling like crazy, right? He's going through the waves. The waves are smashing him. He's pushing hard. He's doing, one arm by one arm. Then he's doing two arms, trying to do like a butterfly stroke, and nothing is working. The waves are crashing on him, and they're small waves as I was watching, but he's going nowhere. He's almost going back the other way. And there's a kid in front of him, looks like his son, and he's going and he's doing it graceful and he's moving and he's going out. He's being hit by the waves, but he's moving through. And what I'm assuming is the dad is just working so hard. And then the funniest thing happened. I was sitting by myself and I felt weird because I'm laughing out loud by myself on the beach. And if you know what I look like, me sitting on the beach laughing to myself, I look like the guy who needs a lot of help. But the son, after that smooth stroke, he's getting his stuff, and he just, looks around and he gets off his board and then stands up, and the water is not even to his knees. And about 10 yards behind is his dad struggling, and he sees the son. And then the dad, I could tell in his heart, he was probably like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. And then he stood up. It was like knee deep, and he just walked through the waves that were crashing into him that he was getting no progress in. And what God told me at that point, he said, there's a lot of times, son, that you are struggling, doing all these things. You're working so hard when all you need to do is stand up, and that will give you the traction. He said, I don't need your trust. I desire your faith. Your trust is based off the circumstances that you see, but your faith guides you when you can't see any of the results. So in Proverbs 19 today, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And so the question that I ask you is, are you drowning in 3 feet of water? Why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never know, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
Are you drowning in 3 feet of water? Are you struggling right now, striving, spinning your wheels? And when I say this, I've done this so many times. I was hanging out with my friend Tina Black, and I said, pray for me, whatever it is that God puts on your heart. And she said, what I feel so strong is that you're spinning right now, but you aren't getting traction, because the reason why you aren't getting traction is because you're not exercising faith. You're looking just to trust. But the trust will come from you seeing results, and the faith will come from the belief when you can see no signs at all. And I was like, man, that's some judgment right there. That's what I felt. I felt like I was being targeted. But I just ask right now, are there places in your life that you're spinning your wheels? And my wife tells me this all the time. She told me this just recently. She's like, I feel like you're just spinning. You're going in these areas. You're trying so hard. And it's like, if you just relax. And when I watch her, she doesn't, push anything. She says, if it's for you, it's going to happen. And the right things will come to you. And like, I look at her wedding business, and she's one of the best wedding hairdressers in the country, if not the world, in my head. but she just got named #1 wedding hairdresser in all of San Diego, Brooklyn Cardenas. I mean, she is unbelievable. And you know what happens? The weddings keep coming to her, and she calls it her bride. There's a specific type of bride that she works with, and she knows within 15 minutes of, or maybe even 5 minutes of talking to the woman in the consultation, whether that's her bride or not, because she set her standard and she allows things to come to her. And it's a thing that we've talked about in the past. And, I wish that I would have known this early on when we owned salons. It was the concept of push marketing and pull marketing. And push marketing is, I'm going to send it out to 1 million people. I'm just going to, spray and pray and make that happen. And hopefully 1 or 2 people will, catch. As opposed to pull marketing is focusing in on 1 or 2 guests or every single person that you come in contact with that you give the greatest experience, and then they go out and tell 1 million. And I was just talking with my brother the other day this way. He said, if I do the right thing at the right time, then that person will send me 10 people. And this was a theory of 10 that my pops talked about all the time. And my pops was always like, son, all you have to do is focus in on that person, make that person, whoever you're dealing with, whether it be, if you're in real estate, if you're in the dental industry, you're in the professional beauty industry, you are in, you're an educator, like a teacher, you're in any industry, whoever is right there in front of you is the most important person. I just got a chance to be able to take care of, Lonnie Paxton. He's the long snapper for the Patriots. And I got to take care of all of his sons and the 3 of them. And what I've told people in the past is the only people that matter, the only people that exist is the person that's sitting right in front of me. And this just came from a concept from my pops. And he said that for every 1 person you touch, they'll send 10, or they'll send 10 away from you. And so that multiplication becomes so fast. So in push marketing and pull marketing, you just got to ask yourself the question. I'm not saying that all marketing, well, no, you get to choose. But I like pull marketing as opposed to spraying to 1 million people to try and get 1. I'd much rather focus in on the 1 to go get me the 1 million. And so as I sat today, wheels spinning in my head. What can I do? How can I make this better? What can happen here? God, it was almost as if God was laughing and is like, I'm going to take you through some stuff, and then I'm going to show you this father and son. And the father is going to be swimming so hard, working through the waves. The son is going to be gliding through them. And then the son is going to realize that, hey, I can stand up. And when he stood up, his dad saw it, and then he walked through the waves also. And when the dad walked through the waves, it was so funny because the waves that were smashing him before were literally hitting his knees and doing nothing to him. And he walked right out to the lineup and, was out surfing before long. And I just thought about, again, how many times have I been in a situation where I've worked so hard and I've racked my brain. And see, in Proverbs 19, it helps us to understand the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, which is our faith. And I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you in these times of, that God is not just asking us to blindly follow him. He's given us so much evidence. He's given us so much substance of things for us to be able to believe in, but it goes back to that faith part of it of, and the illustration for me was so strong. It's like when we're trusting, we're looking for the results. Yeah, I'll paddle harder. I'll do this. I'll do all these things. And then the faith part was the father seeing the son stand up, and he was like, oh my gosh, all I have to do, I've been paddling in this water the whole time. And it reminds me of a time we were in Antigua, and Heather Martinez, she's Martinez now. She was Ragusa before. But my wife went out and she did her wedding, did the hair for the wedding. And we went out, and it was a phenomenal wedding. It was absolutely beautiful. To be with the Ragusas was incredible. They are unbelievable people. They're there in Las Vegas. And we went out, and Mr. Ragusa is the guy. Like, everybody wants to be around him. He's got so much game. He's just such a nice guy, and everyone loves him. So we go out on a catamaran, and he charters a thing. We go out. We have the boat to ourselves. We're snorkeling. And I'm not that great at snorkeling. My wife is, but we're going around. We see the sea life, and for me, uh, I mean, once I see it, I'm done. I'm not trying to like stay in the water for a huge amount of time, but I'm swimming around and I see the stuff, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I look down and I start seeing jellyfish, and I don't see one jellyfish. I see like, I mean, I would say hundreds, if not thousands. They're everywhere. Like you couldn't even move your arms and not hit a jellyfish. And my wife is super calm. But I'm freaking out. I'm like, if I move my arm, I'm going to get stung by these jellyfish. They were everywhere. And so I'm swimming and I'm just like, I'm trying to stay calm. I'm snorkeling, but I got to keep my face under the water because I got to see where these jellyfish are going to sting me, where they're coming from. You know, I got to protect my family. And so I'm swimming and I'm just frantically swimming. And I think that I'm going back to the boat, but I realize I look up out of the water and I see land, and land is, you know, probably 50, 100 yards away. So I'm like, I stick my face down in the water and I'm like, look, I'm just going to push through this. I'm going to make sure I don't get stung or whatever it is. And then I'm swimming, and I feel something touch my knee. And I'm like, man, is it a shark? Is it a jellyfish? Is it like Jaws? And I, 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 I push again and I feel the thing scrape my knee a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh, I freak out. And then I dropped my knee a little bit and I realized it was the sand. And I stood up, and I swear on my life, this water did not even come up to my calf. And I was face down snorkeling. You can imagine the people from the shore are looking at this idiot that, which is me, that is snorkeling frantically in like calf deep water. And sometimes we just don't realize that the challenges we see, that all those things, God is saying, are you kidding me? I've got you, but you need to have faith in me. Just stand up. Just stand up. And so as we went through Proverbs 19 today, it was so incredible. The first question is, are you willing to do right even though you don't see immediate results? And that's a hard one for me because like I want to see the immediate results. I want to see, like, you know, I told you before, like none of this stuff is going to go viral. This podcast probably today won't go viral because it doesn't have, I'm not clout chasing. I'm not, clip chasing, and maybe I don't have the right algorithm, all those things. But what I want to do is I want to share wisdom with you that comes from a relationship with God, which I think is kind of valuable. And maybe it'll catch on. Maybe it won't. But I got to be okay with just doing exactly what God has me to do every single day. So the second part of this in verse 2, it was faith is the bridge when you don't understand the circumstance. Faith is the bridge. And this was a hard thing because I grew up in a family where my dad was like, he would go off the deep end. You know, he would just he would believe in something and he just goes in. Well, my wife is probably saying, well, the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. Like for me, there's not a lot of negotiation. Once I lock into something, I'm locked into that thing. And what was challenging for me with my dad a lot is, and with my pops, was that he was always just about this faith. You just got to have faith. You just got to have faith. And I was like, yeah, but I got to see something, Pop. Like I got to see something. I need a sign. I need a circumstance. I need all those things. And what God was saying in this is just that faith is the bridge when you don't understand the circumstance. Although, listen to the end, all the way through to the end, because this stuff will all make sense. In verse 3, what truth do you subscribe to, and are you sold out to it? This is a big one because, Mike Tyson said this. He said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And in life, think about that. Everyone has a plan. We have this plan, and then we get punched in the mouth. And then my brother just had this happen recently where he had a person leave his company. And I got a chance to just sit and listen to him. And I had this happen a bunch because we had a company, we had 7 locations at the height. We had 85 employees. And when someone would leave, I tell you, it didn't matter who it was. It would take me out emotionally. It was so tough. But towards the end, what I started to realize was I didn't need to change the course of the ship just because one person exited. But early on, I would literally like, oh my gosh, what do we need to change? We need to change this right now. We need to change this right now. And it isn't that. And what I want to speak to all of you leaders is if someone doesn't adhere to the culture, it's okay for them to leave. Now, the onboarding process, 94% of the challenges in your business happens to be locked into the onboarding process, although 99% of those challenges in the onboarding process comes down to communication. So if we could communicate right off the bat, we'll have the tendency to have a lot more shelf life with that person. But if you have communicated, you've onboarded correctly, you have built a culture of excellence, and you have a culture that is a living, breathing organism that continues on to grow, and someone doesn't want to be a part of it, it doesn't mean that you need to change everything because that person didn't want to play with you. And so just be conscious of that. But I want to ask you, what truth do you subscribe to, and are you sold out to it? And principles are something that lasts the test of time. Thought patterns or ideas are things that sound good until you gain opposition, and then you change the course. So stick the course. In verse 4 and 7 of Proverbs 19, beware of the motives of those around you and your own. That's a tough one because it's so easy to judge people on their actions, but most of the time we judge ourselves on our intentions. Think about that one for a second, chew on it. In verse 8, wisdom and understanding never lose. Silliness and wisdom don't mix like oil and water. Silliness and wisdom. Silliness, absence of wisdom. Wisdom comes from the fear of God. It's the right use of knowledge. Those two don't mix. So when we try and mix them, I'll have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It doesn't work out. I told the story a long time ago because I had heard the story from somebody else that there was a kid and his mom walked into the room. He was watching YouTube, and on YouTube there was a cuss word, and she stopped the video and she got all mad, and he was like, "What, Mom? It's no big deal. It's just one word. He didn't say it all the time." And she was like, "All right." And then she went downstairs and she was baking him cookies later on that day. And she went out in the front yard and she grabbed some doo-doo from the dog. So she grabbed some dog doo-doo, and she just grabbed a little piece of dog doo-doo and she put it in the mix, and she mixed it up in the cookies, and called the kid down to be able to have some cookies. Kid was so excited he had a cookie, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that? This is so nasty." And she was like, "Oh, I just added a little bit of dog poop into the cookie dough." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I can't believe that you would do that." And she was like, "What's the big deal? It's just a little bit of dog poop." And I run into this all the time because I think at times where I can mix one and the other, but I could tell you this, they don't mix. My pops would say this all the time, that oil and water don't mix. And when you try and mix good with bad, it doesn't work. So just don't do it. Wisdom produces patience. When you have wisdom, the right use of knowledge, it'll gain patience. Your family is the most valuable thing in your life. Respect and honor them. I think that speaks for itself. Diligence and discernment are invaluable. Generosity, discipline, and patience are all signs of wisdom. If you see someone with generosity, discipline, and patience, generally they have wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge, and that always comes from the fear of God, which is the respect of God. It means that you just spend time with him, hear his word, see his actions, they're in line, and you move on. Listen to advice, accept discipline, and you will be counted among the wise. It doesn't say that you say the right thing or that you do the right thing. It just says that you listen to advice and then you accept the discipline that comes with it, and you will be counted among the wise. We can plan all we want, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Stick to the plan, but go with the flow. That's what my wife, Brooklyn, says. "I love you, baby. You're amazing. And you smell nice. You say nice things." The fear of God leads to life as we finish up. The fear of God leads to life, not the fear of God, the trembling of God. And I've said this before. I had a person tell me that you got to watch out because you're killing your brand. You talk about God. And I was like, how could that even be the case? That's not going to be the case. That's not going to be the case. Now, some people won't want to listen because they'll think, "Oh, wow, he's talking about religion." I'm not. He's talking about a ritual. I'm not. I'm talking about a relationship. And I'm saying that helping people to understand, or even myself going through this, is the fear of God, the respect of God. That was in the context of when it was written. The fear meant the respect. Now, to respect something, you got to spend time with it. You got to see its words. You got to see the actions. You got to see that they're in line. Once that happens, then you respect it. That's the fear of God. And that leads to life. It leads to life more abundantly because we realize that our life isn't just about us, that there's a lot larger purpose in it. And think about all the fruits of the Spirit: love, peace, patience. All those things are not bad, and they lead to life. And see, as we finish up here, is although God calls us to faith, he gives us an unlimited amount of substance and evidence to take us from trust to hope and ultimately the faith that he desires us to have. He doesn't want your trust. He desires your faith. Well, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'll tell you again, this right here most likely won't go viral. But if you listen to the end, it'll add some life. I tell you, I am so thankful for every single one of you that tunes into the podcast. And what I would say is get the playbook. It's on Amazon. The link is in the bio. The playbook, which is the Inchstones, the vibe within, and it'll take you through the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. It'll do it for 3 months, and it'll ask you what hit your heart, what did it make you think about, and what action can you add to it today. If you haven't got the book, The Vibe, it's there. It's on Amazon also. It's it was targeted towards business, but I tell you, what I found was the indicators inside of it, which are your culture, your vibe, your process and procedure, your productivity, your innovation, and your ability to adapt immediately. Outside of those 6 things, I've never found anything inside of a business or a relationship that couldn't be solved if we truly, truly look into those aspects. So have a wonderful day. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And my name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again.